Okay, Stevie here. All right, so I'm just doing the final touches on this rack. Let's try to get it all in here. Okay, so basically, it's pretty simple. Um, it's two Pod XT lives. So that's Pod 1. Over here is Pod 2. Then this is just a Midi switcher. Then there to the left is a volume pedal for the pod on the left, and then there's a volume pedal for the pod on the right. And then up here is the GR55, which basically is a guitar synth that has synth sounds but also has guitar sounds, and that's just controlled right from the guitar. Oh, there you go. So you basically just right from the guitar you can just dial the volume, and you can switch the bank with these two little switches here. So basically, the way it works right now is in the middle there's this little tonebone thing, which is called the switchbone, and basically you plug your guitar into the switchbone. Then the switchbone is an A/B box, but I'm using it to basically not have A or B, but to use both. You can use A or B or both, so I've got it for both. Then it also has a cool little mid boost here, so if you're doing a solo and you want to kick the mids up with both amps, you can do that. And so the reason why I did this, which is pretty... People think it's pretty crazy, but there's a couple of cool things that it lets me do. First of all, I've always liked the sound of two guitar rigs instead of one, because if you want to have one with really nice clean patch and another with a dirty patch, it's a nice sound. Alex Lifeson used to do that from Rush back in the old days, and not a lot of guys have done it. Although a lot of guys have done, multiple amp setups to kind of get all the different tones of several different amps at once. But what I ran into with this band Global Effect that I'm playing with is, for the most part, if you're going to use like a Pod XT Live, they're in banks of 4. So, you've got your, patch 1, 2, 3, 4 within that bank. But there's a whole bunch of sounds I need to access a lot faster, and it just wasn't working with only being able to access 4 things. So I got this just real simple Behringer MIDI switcher, which basically I use MIDI to access a whole bunch of sounds, and so this has 10 presets within each bank. So basically I hit one thing, and you can see here, like if you look at that pod, that goes to a certain patch, and that pod goes to the same patch. So, but there's a couple other subtle MIDI things that you can really get a lot more mileage out of the pods, which is basically the MIDI goes out from here into that pod, then through into this pod, then through back in here, back into this pod. So basically, the way I have it set up, and maybe I can show you in a second, is basically this each pod is set up so that the pedal, the extra external pedal here, can be any parameter you want. But I have the extra pedal already for volume, so this is just master volume. But then this pedal I have set as the amount of reverb, the reverb mix within a patch. So basically, if you're leaning on a nice lead and everything's really good, somewhere in the middle you want a little bit more gushy, you lean on that pedal, you got a little more reverb. Or conversely, if it's too washed out, you can instantly bring it back. And what happens is, I'll make a great sound in my living room, it sounds awesome, and then I take it and actually play with musicians, and there's way too many effects. So this way you can correct that stuff on the fly. But then what I did, since I had this additional capability with this Behringer thing, these things are switches too. So both of these are real-time, set up for real-time effect control, and this one is set up for the delay mix. So if that's 0, there's no delay, but I can have as much or little delay as I want just by cranking down this pedal. Then this one is the mix of chorus. So I could have no chorus, or a little bit of chorus, or like full-on crazy chorus, just with that. So all three of these work with just MIDI continuous controller data, and that goes from the continuous controller data starts from these two things, but also if I send it from this pod, it'll go through this MIDI thing and into the other pod. So there's one other thing that's pretty cool, which is that I'm used to the sounds in this pod, and I'm used to, like, say, the first 20 banks, you know, bank 1, 2, 3, and then I've got different patches. So because the MIDI data is flowing through, if I'm in the middle, I've got my 10 basic presets that I'm going to use, and let's say, so both pods now go to the same patch, and I just decide I want to tweak no delay at all on both. If I hit this delay, it'll go off on that pod, and now I hit it again, it goes back on. So the delay will go on or off both of the pods at the same time. So basically whatever I do to this pod will go to this pod. However, let's say I have both of these on a patch that I like, and I have, you know, whatever chorus or whatever, and on this pod I want to change the reverb level, leaving the other reverb level the same. Well, I just touch the reverb level on this, take the delay on or off, and it doesn't affect what's on this pod. So I can do stuff like, you know, like have a crazy lead thing going, and then have you know, have full-on delay and reverb just how I like it, but then have this pod that's a little better for the sound man that doesn't have so washed out, you know, delay and reverb and stuff, so he can still get the straight signal. Or do something real crazy like have a super dirty patch here, have a super clean patch there at the same time. It's two completely different stereo rigs. So that's my latest monstrosity, and still getting some used to how it works. But I'm having a lot of fun with it. So I can't really hold this and play at the same time, so I guess this is going to have to do for this one. So there you go. Hope you guys like it. Want to see the comments. Probably people are going to say you are crazy. So there you have it.